watching this, then you know the story of Mulan, right? Mulan is a Chinese woman who enlisted in the Imperial Chinese Army so she can save her crippled father from certain death. She also has friendly allies like Mushu, Cricket, along with her fellow soldiers, where they succeed in defeating the Huns. Well, that's the Disney version of the story, which is based on an actual legend, and it is significantly different from the animated film. The first noticeable difference is that there is no Mushu, or even Cricket for that matter. Those characters are purely created by Disney. The next difference is the Great Wall of China depicted in the animation film. That is actually the Ming Dynasty wall, which is what most people think of when first thinking about the Great Wall of China. Although the Great Wall of China is around 2,000 years old, yet the Ming Wall is only about 500 years old. When the legend of Mulan first appeared and originated in China, back then it was the Northern Wei Dynasty, which was 1,000 years before the Ming Dynasty. So the Great Wall back then wasn't made of stone, but rather rammed earth as the primary material. Another difference is the Mulan weapon that was depicted with her. The animated film shows Mulan with the sword as her primary weapon. The actual legend primarily shows Mulan with a long spear and a halberd. And this is, however, actually a missed opportunity for Disney, where if Mulan used such a weapon in the animated film, then she would have been a much bigger badass than depicted. There is another major difference with the villain or the depicted invaders of China. The Disney film shows that it was the Huns, yet in reality it wasn't even them, as the Huns existed long before the legend ever appeared, and they were actually located much closer to Europe. It was actually the northern nomadic people that is likely the ancestors of the Mongols, which were called the Zhuang. I hope I pronounced that name of the northern nomadic people culture's name right. If I did not, then I apologize. Although the legend's original story still has more significant differences, especially with the plot aside from background settings, yet there are similarities with the Disney animated film or what they got right or stick to. The things that Disney retained from the original legend is, of course, the main female character's name, the plot of saving her father, and the Emperor did order one man from every family to enlist in the military and was supposedly congratulated by the emperor himself, which Mulan was offered a position in the empress's court, but she did decline the offer and was indeed greeted by her family. There are some things that Disney either changed or didn't take altogether. Mulan's family name in the legend is Hua, not Fa. Her father was already old and weak, while it may have been from battle or simply old age. But Mulan actually had a brother, yet he was only a child back then, so he couldn't enlist due to age. Mulan actually served for 12 years and was already taught in martial arts, sword fighting, and archery. Mulan only asked for a camel for her return trip back home. Later on, her comrades were surprised to discover that she was a woman when they first saw her in women's clothing after fighting with each other for 12 years, which meant that her true identity wasn't even discovered during her service. So, keep in mind that the legend story has either changed or likely new adaptations or versions of the story were developed over time since it first appeared over 1,000 years ago. The original legend is so good where it was well received in China, especially a leading female character in a male-dominated culture, and that has lasted over 1,000 years with various dynasties to the present day due to China's history. Now, you know the real story from the actual legend of Mulan and compared it to the Disney animated film with the differences and the similarities. And of course, there is the upcoming or already released live-action Disney film of Mulan, which is supposedly depicted closer to the original legend. Although no actual woman of Mulan was around, But yet, you never know, as the legend or the story had to start from somewhere in the first place, so there could have been a historical female individual who inspired Mulan. While there may be some truths to the legend, or legends in general, but the legend of Mulan in any version is a good story to tell. So, enjoy it.